Right. So I want to thank you all so much, the advocates from across labor, from across the Playfair Coalition. You can see this is an issue that brings all of us together, and we are all deeply concerned about it, New Yorkers. Thank you for your fight, for your advocacy every single day, and let's do this together. Thank you. Next up, we're going to have Carter from the Trust for Public Land.
All right, thank you, council member. This is a great day and it's an important issue. My name is Carter Strickland. I'm the New York State Director for the Trust for Public Land. We work very closely with the city to build out parks. And the reason why is there are too many neighborhoods that just don't have enough park space. And as we have jobs going, more and more job centers being created in the outer boroughs, we're going to need more parks built around there where people work, live, and we hope play. The Playfair Coalition, of which Trust for Public Land is a member, has done a great job focusing last year and continued this year on the operational needs for parks. We need more park employees. We need ways to keep parks open. There's a separate issue on the capital side. We have enough money. New York State voters just approved the Bond Act. That's $4.2 billion, a great deal of which can go to parks. There's a lot of federal infrastructure money. The city even has some money, but the Parks Department and other city agencies are just not spending enough because it takes too long. Capital commitment rates on the budget in recent years have been as low in the Parks Department case as 48%. That's all cumulatively billions of dollars we're not spending on park needs right now to bring them up to a state of good repair, to build new parks, and is also, by the way, billions of dollars in foregone leverage matching money from the federal and state government. We need to spend New York money so that we bring those federal and state dollars home for the benefit of New York City residents. Now, I'll just speak to one of the goals, the 25% goal. That is very doable. It's achievable, and as you heard, it will have a big impact. There's private groups that build parks at a 50% cost and time saving. So the Parks Department can get to 25%, I think, with a coordinated effort. They've made some good steps so far, and I think in response to this bill, they'll get there and it will be better for all New Yorkers. So thank you, Councilmember, for introducing me.
There you go. Hello, everyone. My name is Keisha Sutton James. I'm the Deputy Manhattan Borough President. Pleased to be here on behalf of Borough President Mark Levine today to support this work. Again, thank you. Just to sharpen this point a little bit, I'm going to give 3 statistics. The average New York City park is 73 years old. We have an aging infrastructure. The Parks Department faces a $6 billion capital work backlog, and it takes, as was said prior to me speaking, 7 to 8 years to build a new park in New York City. This is about efficiency. This is about streamlining a process. This is about moving things forward. As we just heard from Carter, it's not that we don't have some of the resources that we need. We need to build a better system to get the resources into community. And I just want to lift up a couple of points and say, for the way that the borough president thinks about it, we see this as being an issue of equity. It's not the well-resourced parks that are not being built up. It is the parks and communities that are poorer, that are black or brown, that don't have the resources, that are not getting the attention and the resources that they need. This is also an issue of sustainability. 30% of our coastline is parks. So we need to build up these parks in order to ensure that our city has the resiliency, the level of resiliency that it needs to be able to sustain the environmental impact that is most likely going to be heading our way. So we need to focus on this from not just not thinking about this from I guess my point is we're focusing on this from an equity, sustainability, and efficiency perspective, and those are the reasons we need to get it done. So, as you know, many of you know that the borough president led the initiative on behalf of all of the 5 borough presidents to push for 1 million trees to be built in New York City. And we're hoping that this will move. Also, the borough president was the person who introduced the legislation to build bathrooms in every zip code in New York City. So we're hoping that this entire process will help make this entire system more efficient, and we will get the work done. Thank you so much for having us.
Hi everyone, I'm Alia Sumro. I'm the Deputy Director for New York City Policy at the New York League of Conservation Voters. Along with New Yorkers for Parks, DC 37, NYLCB is one of the founding members of the Playfair Coalition, which calls on the city to invest in 1% of the city's budget to parks. Today, we stand with fellow advocates to stress the importance of parks and open space to the health, resiliency, and sustainability of our city. Parks are one of the city's most valuable assets, and we must be investing in them in order to fight climate change, protect public health, bolster the safety and well-being of our communities. Despite this, the city's park system has been underfunded for 40 years, and the capital process is expensive and inefficient. With the compounding inequitable impacts of climate change and the COVID-19 pandemic, we need our parks repaired and built more quickly and inexpensively so that New Yorkers have access to these critical spaces. The bills being considered today at the Parks Committee hearing will not only improve the efficiency of the parks capital process by prioritizing transparency, but increase tree coverage throughout the city by evaluating the feasibility of micro parks on city-owned vacant land near highways. If one thing is clear, it's that with the increasing value of parks not only need to get their fair share of critical funding for badly needed operations and maintenance, but get constructed more efficiently. Thank you.
Thank you so much, League of Conservation Voters. And I want to also say as well to our Deputy Borough President and Borough President from Manhattan, thank you all so much for your work. Borough President Levine was the former Parks Chair of the City Council of Borough, so we continue that work. And now, our parks workers every day are the beating heart of our park system. They maintain them, they take care of them. And the fact of the matter is, if we have a much more efficient capital process, the immense savings that we get can be put back into hiring more parks workers. And that's what we need to be doing. So I want to call up on behalf of DC 37, Joe Palaio to say a few words. Come on up, Joe.
Thank you all. Thank you. My name is Joe Pulio. For those of you who don't know, I represent over 4,000 members. I'm also part of DC 37, who's over 125,000 strong. Most of our members not only work in New York City, but they live in New York City and they vote in New York City. Okay, so I urge everyone to vote for these pieces of legislation. When it takes $4 million to build a park house, $4 million. Could you imagine that? Right? And it's built at a snail's pace with caviar taste. Something is wrong. We need to do something about this. We need to cut these costs. We need more park workers, right? Last year and the year before, we had the luxury of having federal stimulus money. Those monies are gone, right? And not only that, it's compounded too with an attrition hiring rate. That means our parks are going to be in crisis. Garbage is going to be this high in the parks. We need the manpower. We need our men and women that out there to do the job every day to do what they do best. The Parks Department is the largest landowner in the city of New York, but yet it only gets a fraction of 1%. It's 0.5%. All we're asking for is 1%. No other municipality, no other city that I know of, right, pays less than 1% for all of the park use that's out there. All of the parks that we have, that they're deteriorating. You know, they're not meant to, facilitate the people in which they're meant to sustain. Most people cannot afford to go on vacations here, So where do they go? They go to our parks. And our parks have been unfortunately, the only green space that a lot of our children know. Our seniors don't have the luxury of going elsewhere. The only place that they go to is, if not for the libraries, it's the parks. So we really need this money. And when do we want it? Now! Thank you. We need it yesterday, like somebody said. We've been fighting for this for over 2 decades. I remember doing this in 2000. We're now, in 2022, going on to 2023? I know right after that it sort of got derailed with 9/11. You know, that took a different interest at the moment. But now that's all gone. Now's the time. Thank you all. And thank this man. This man has been a godsend to us. He came in, right, and we thought, well, this guy's new, right? What does he know? This guy does his research. Let me tell you, right? And we can't thank you enough.
Thank you so much, Joe. Thank you so much to DC 37. Now, continuing with our siblings in labor, I want to call up from Labor's Local 1010, Lowell Barton.
Thank you, Councilmember Christian, for inviting Local 1010 to speak today. Parks capital projects have long suffered from delays, waste, and corruption. The legislative package being put forth at the hearing set to begin in a few moments is a step in the right direction. For so long, unscrupulous contractors are permitted to exploit the current system, cheating workers and taxpayers. Greater transparency, oversight, accountability will go a long way to achieving better results. For New Yorkers and the workers tasked with performing the work that is so hard in building our parks. And nobody does it faster than Local 1010. You gotta get it on the job. The problem is getting it there. Once the shovel hits the ground, we're on it, we get it done faster. We just need everyone to give us the work and just get out of our way, and then it's done. Unionized laborers, if awarded the opportunity in these capital projects, will bring years of skilled training for the job, helping to complete these jobs on budget and on a timely manner. And we're also remiss without thanking Chair Christian and other members of the Parks Committee who have signed on to a letter to be sent to the Parks Commissioner, call for greater accountability and public input to the procurement process. A lot of waste and inefficiency can be eliminated by the creation of a greater public oversight. Together, in partnership with the council and the administration, we can make our city fairer and our parks more beautiful. Thank you.
I just want to say a big shout out first to Local 1010. Thank you so much for your dedication to our parks every single day. Now, I'm going to turn it over to Executive Director for New Yorkers for Parks. Let's give them a big round of applause too, by the way. Adam Ganser to call up our speakers from the Playfair Coalition, who are fighting every single day when it comes to parks, equity, and green space access in our city. So thank you, Playfair.
Thank you. I also want to just say thank you to both unions that are here. You have made our parks so much better, particularly over the last 3 years, which have been so challenging. So your efforts are not unnoticed.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Next up is Speaker Elizabeth Adams from Transportation Alternatives. Elizabeth here.
Hi all, I'm Elizabeth Adams with Transportation Alternatives. Great to be here today. The Playfair Coalition and all the unions we got. We need parks for everyone. Transportation Alternatives is an organization committed to fighting for a more livable, accessible, and transit-oriented city, and that requires parks. That's right. We know how important green space is to our environmental health and to our communities. We saw during the pandemic the impact that lack of parks had when we were trying to just get outside, to get together with our loved ones, and to be safe and healthy. And we've launched 25 by 25, a campaign for New York City to take back 25% of our streets that have been dedicated to the movement and storage for cars to better spaces and streets for people, like parks, like open space, like green space, like buses. If we were to take just a small portion of streets away from cars and provide it for parks, we could have 13 central parks in New York City. What would that look like for our city? It would be a new vision. In October, Transportation Alternatives launched a new website, Spatial Equity NYC, connecting our open public data around transportation access and safe streets with intersecting indicators of environmental and public health. Our report card found that New York City Council districts with fewer trees and fewer parks are hotter, more polluted, more flood prone, and have higher rates of heat-related mortality. This is a public health crisis, and parks and green space are a critical solution to addressing our public health needs.
Yes.
Yet in New York City, neighborhoods with the least tree canopy coverage are more often in lower income neighborhoods and communities of colors. It is not equitable where our green space is laid out in the city. And so a huge thank you and appreciation to the council member, Chair Krishnan, to the coalition, to all the organization and unions here fighting to make it right. Public space can be used to uplift our neighborhoods through parkland to boost mental and physical health, public benches to provide mobility ease for older and senior New Yorkers, and trees to shade and clean our air. But public space can also be used in ways that are devastating, such as highways that divide our communities, that exacerbate flooding and add excess heat and air pollution. We know what works when it comes to New York City, and it's green space, it's parks. And for too long, our city has not been doing it the right way. So this package of bills is a critical step forward in addressing our funding needs and addressing the allocation needs, and in looking at new spaces across our city for where we can have micro parks, where we can address flooding needs, where we can have bioswales and mitigation. We're proud to stand here today and look forward to this package of bills moving forward swiftly. Thank you.
I just want to first point out that the Playfair Coalition of 400 organizations includes organizations like Transportation Alternatives, environmental justice organizations, infrastructure organizations. This is an issue that goes across sector, and it's important that everybody understands that. The next up is Karen Asner from St. Nicholas Park.
Well, thank you very much to New Yorkers for Park for this opportunity to speak at this very important rally here today. My name is Karen Asner, and I act as the president of the Friends of St. Nicholas Park. St. Nicholas Park is a 23-acre park in Harlem, and which makes it, in fact, one of the 15 largest public parks in Manhattan. We are an all-volunteer group that provides thousands of hours of service each year to St. Nicholas Park. This year alone, we've sponsored more than 20 park-wide cleanups. We've held dozens of gardening sessions to restore and plant flower beds. We organize free community events like an Easter egg hunt, a Juneteenth celebration, jazz festival, and community tree lightings. But one thing our volunteers cannot do is to fix the many capital needs that exist in St. Nicholas Park. And we have serious capital improvements that have not been addressed for decades. For example, St. Nicholas Park has a closed main set of stairs that runs from St. Nicholas Avenue all the way to St. Nicholas Terrace. These stairs have been fenced off for more than 10 years. This stair closure, in fact, resulted in St. Nicholas Park receiving a failing pathways score in the 2012 New York City report card on large parks. The closed stairs are a magnet for illegal encampments in the park, and they make the upper part of the park feel isolated and unsafe. Last fall, the New York City Fire Department had to come extinguish a fire that reached the treetops from one of these illegal encampments. But not a single dollar has been allocated to fix these stairs because we're told there's no money available. Similarly, playgrounds in St. Nicholas Park lack even basic safety fencing and gates, even though the playgrounds stand less than 20 feet from the busy traffic on St. Nicholas Avenue. The play structures are minimal and substandard. The play surfaces are broken. And again, not a single dollar has been allocated to make these playgrounds safe and appropriate for our community's children. And the reason we're told year after year is that there just aren't enough capital dollars available to make the park safe for Harlem's children and its residents. But the children and residents of West Harlem deserve safe parks. Children and parents in Harlem deserve to know that they can bring their children to a playground without a child running into traffic the moment their back is turned. And they deserve to be able to use the stairs in their park. And we're sick and tired of being told no because the city has a failed capital system that does not serve the needs of New Yorkers' most vulnerable citizens. Every single wasted dollar is a dollar that could be used to make our park and other parks safe. So I'm here today on behalf of our West Harlem community and so many other park groups facing the same types of unfunded capital needs to urge the City Council and the Mayor to pass the bills that are under hearing here today and to pass comprehensive capital reform and to allocate more dollars to capital improvements to finally fix the massive backlog of capital projects that need to be addressed in the public parks in New York City. Quite literally, the health and safety of all New Yorkers depends upon it. Thank you.
That's all of our speakers today. I want to point out that this is a bigger issue than parks. This is the beginning of many steps that need to be taken to reform the city's broken capital process. And we're on the right track. Legislation is the way to go. Task forces are great, and they open ideas, but unless we legislate, nothing's going to get done. I want to go two shouts. One is 1% and one is capital reform. What do we want?
1%!
What do we want?
Capital reform!
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for being here.
What percentage of this work is being done by non-union private contractors?
We're speaking specifically about public projects that are being worked on by union members. These are public projects that are done by city agencies like the Parks Department, and that's where our focus is.
But what percentage of that is union work?
Bob, thanks for the question. The answer is not nearly enough. As far as I'm concerned, every single project in New York City should be done by unions.
Does anybody know that? Well, no, you're going to have a hearing. Nobody knows that percentage.
We'll get the data on it. I'm sure we'll
You
have
understand that that is the central question. I can't write that story without knowing that.
We'll make sure to get you
I mean, I
that.
know labor voices are here, but we need to know.
We'll make sure to get you that. But the fact of the matter is, a lot of the projects, I don't want to give you the wrong number, so I'll make sure I give you the right one. But my position on this is very clear. Not nearly enough of our projects. A lot of them don't actually happen with union labor, and that's precisely because of the restrictions in the capital process.
Have there been any cases of criminal corruption?
One thing that I've been very concerned about, and we're about to release a letter soon to the Parks Department too, is with one of the contractors for our tree plantings that was involved with serious criminal proceedings. And the fact of the matter is that under unions, we're not able to participate in voicing their objections to that as well. So we're going to push that issue as part of this as well. But again, as far as I'm concerned, these capital projects, these processes need to be reformed using procedures like design, build, and other procedures to make sure that we are actually incorporating union labor much more.
Is it out of the question to say that no park project can be done that's not union labor? You guys talk about being pro-union, that would fix it.
Let me be very clear. The answer is absolutely. Every single project, public works project in New York City, should be done with union labor. Thank you all so much. I'll see you inside. All right, we're gonna do this.